Driving the demons out of Mexico. This is Skywatch TV News, June 16th of 2015. I'm Derek Gilbert. In a unique ceremony performed on May 20th at the Cathedral of San Luis Potosi in Mexico, a group led by Cardinal Juan Sandoval Ingües performed what they call the Exorcismo Magno, or the Great Exorcism. This was guided by the Spanish demonologist and exorcist Father Jose Antonio Fortea. The ceremony intended to drive demons away from the entire nation of Mexico. Now, Mexico, in recent years, you probably know, suffers from a growing wave of violence. We reported just a couple of weeks ago about the 6-year-old boy who was tortured and killed by a group of children recruited by a criminal gang devoted to Santa Muerte, or Saint Death. Father Fortea said that to the extent there is more witchcraft and Satanism going on in a country, to that extent there will be more extraordinary manifestations to those powers of darkness. Now, Catholic journalist Roberto O'Farrell said that he believes Mexico is going through a demonic infestation similar to what happened in Mexico prior to the manifestation of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Now, this is a Marian apparition that appeared in December of 1531. He links the legalization of abortion a few years back in Mexico to the human sacrifice that took place in the days before the Spanish brought Roman Catholicism to Mexico. The big question, of course, is whether an exorcism can be performed for an entire nation. Can demons be exorcised from a geographic area, especially an area in which many are devoted to the occult? As we reported last week, the cult of Santa Muerte is one of the fastest growing religious beliefs in the Western world. We'll have more to say about this in the days ahead. In Syria, the first American volunteer has died fighting ISIS. 36-year-old Keith Broomfield of Minnesota had been in Syria for 4 months, fighting alongside the Kurdish People's Protection Units. He was killed on June 3rd near Kobani in northern Syria. His parents have said in television interviews that he felt led by the Lord to volunteer in spite of his lack of military experience. Broomfield will be laid to rest tomorrow. Searching for human ancestry on a comet. The European Space Agency's Philae lander has awakened from a 7-month sleep. It landed back in November on Comet 67P, then slid into a dark area when its grappling hooks failed to latch onto the comet and its solar batteries quickly discharged. The comet is closer to the sun now. The batteries have recharged, and so Philae is talking to Earth once again. One of the missions of Philae is to search for organic material on the comet's surface. You see, scientists want to prove the theory that human life, all life on planet Earth, was seeded here when a comet loaded with organic material crashed into the planet's surface. Of course, that begs the question, where did that organic material come from? The answer, of course, it's turtles all the way down. You can see into the future, whether you may know it or not, as our friend Chris Putnam has written in his important book, The Supernatural Worldview. An analysis of 20 experiments performed at 7 independent laboratories suggests that we are capable of what's called predictive anticipatory activity. What does that mean? Our subconscious minds somehow react to an event 1 to 10 seconds before the event. Now, to try to explain this, as an example, look at this image of a twig in a stream. And time is the stream moving past the twig. You can see it leaves ripples in the stream after the event, but you also see the ripples before the water reaches the stream. In a similar way, it appears our minds may react slightly before an event, which is proof of the quantum physics experiment illustrating that time may, at the quantum level, move backwards. Now, this does not suggest that we actually have the capacity for foretelling the future, except when revealed by God through his prophets. But it does illustrate, as Dr. Who says, that time is not linear, but wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Speaking of apparent superpowers, there is a group devoted to trying to imbue those superpowers to all of us. The Institute for Ethics and Emerging Technologies, co-sponsoring a conference in California coming up July 12th, the Transhuman Superpowers and Longevity Conference, held appropriately at the Humanist Hall in Oakland. From transhuman to transgender, what does Bruce Jenner mean for American Christianity? You see, Jenner claims to be a Christian, and if we take him at his word, what does that say about the state of faith here in these United States? Columnist Will Wilkinson of The Economist makes an insightful observation. He writes, Caitlyn Jenner of Malibu is a leading indicator not of the secularization of America, but of the ongoing Americanization of Christianity. And sadly, Mr. Wilkinson may be right. Christians whose understanding of the gospel message sort of begins and ends with Christ's revolutionary rejection of the religious hierarchy of his day and his revolutionary love, extension of love to all the broken, the hurting, the downtrodden. When your understanding of the gospel begins and ends there, it's very easy to make the jump to believe that anything is okay, that however you feel is how God intended for you to be, and that therefore it must be okay in God's eyes. Of course, this ignores the fact that Christ preached on the subject of sin and hell more often than anyone else in the Bible. It also ignores the fact that as a member of the Trinity, that Christ was right there with Yahweh when the law was given to Moses. And from the transgender topic to transracial, we've kind of ignored this story for the past few days, but just want to comment briefly on the subject of the story of Rachel Dolezal, who's the former NAACP chapter president in Spokane, Washington. Was revealed in the past few days that Ms. Dolezal has been passing for black for several years, even though she was born as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl to parents of Swiss, German, and Czech ancestry. This has led some commentators to identify her as transracial in the same way that Bruce Jenner identifies as transgender. And it's been interesting watching some folks try to defend Jenner while criticizing Dolezal. I don't mean to mock or ridicule or offend anyone. Certainly don't mean to make light of the pain being felt by Ms. Dolezal or Mr. Jenner. But the truth is that people who live as something that they are not without a compelling reason, like, for example, the Jews in Europe during Hitler's reign, are in need of compassion and counseling. When Ms. Dolezal's 15 minutes of fame has passed, the people who trusted her and people who love her will still be hurting, and those whose cause she championed feel betrayed and sadly cheapened. One thing this whole story does is emphasize how foolish racial discrimination is, and ultimately Christ is the answer to that, as with all human problems. Among Christians, there is no Jew nor Greek, no slave nor free, no male nor female, and I would add no black nor white. We're all one in Christ Jesus. Tonight on Skywatch TV, Steve Quayle returns, joins his friend Tom Horn here in Studio A as they discuss another fascinating topic, discussing the work of the Watchers, those who rebelled against God's authority. Steve and Tom, anytime they get together, being a fly on the wall is just a fascinating position to observe the conversation. The program airs tonight on the Christian Television Network at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's UTC-5. You can see that on DirecTV Channel 376, Dish Network Channel 267, Glory Star Satellite Channel 117, and of course you can watch the live stream on the internet at the Christian Television Network's website. That's ctnonline.com. Or you can watch it on demand. The program will be available beginning tomorrow morning on the Skywatch TV Roku channel. So if you have a Roku account and have not yet added our channel to your account, complete instructions are online at skywatchtv.com/Roku. Our work and our ability to broadcast on satellite TV depends on your generosity and your support. And as our way to thank you for your support, for your gift of $10 or more during the month of June, while supplies last, we're offering the Disaster Survival Bible and a copy of a fascinating book, Angels in the Fire by Dan Statler, an account of how his wife was miraculously rescued from a horrific car accident, 75 miles an hour. A man pulled her from the car and then disappeared. An account that's corroborated by the first responders on the scene. Your gift, our gift to you in exchange for your financial gift, and instructions on how to give at skywatchtv.com. Your comments and questions are helpful to us as we try to make these programs as interesting and informative, as helpful as they possibly can be. Send me your feedback directly, dgilbert@skywatchtv.com. And we thank you for watching as we continue to watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is Skywatch TV.